Who has
Stories like that?
a 100-word summary of all the trouble you guys got into last week? I seem to recall, like, Treble getting into a pissing match with Smaug.
Yeah.
There was the only urine was running down Birdie's leg. Thank you. Like, that was very uncomfortable. Please don't do that again.
You were a better pisser. So, like, you won the pissing match.
Thank you. By some metrics, that is true.
So we picked up a rumor that a metal man was hanging around the dragon's court, and apparently curried some kind of favor with him, which the dragon's son, who we met many months ago, was concerned about. So he asked us to look into this, and so now we are going deep into this dragon's territory to, like, its source of magic or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Some bad, like, magic stone.
Something about this.
Everything's made out of it and everything's gonna go to hell.
We have been tasked with accidentally murdering Robot Man.
No, we've been tasked with not doing that.
Yeah.
We've been specifically told not to do that.
We don't want to do that at all.
I guess I heard
Birdie.
Birdie hears what he wants to hear.
Like, no, I heard, like, hey...
I solemnly swear I will not... This is what I want to hear from you, Birdie. I solemnly swear I will not hand-axe this guy.
To be clear, I'm the one who hand-axed.
I know.
But you let that flying goblin go, just out of mercy.
I don't remember that. I couldn't see it.
I'm glad we've snipped in the bud Birdie shoving this metal man into, like, a pit of lava.
So, Hantel asked you...
Stop that now.
If you have good evidence that the metal man is working against his Lord Father's interests to take care of the problem, but if you can't produce such evidence and you kill the metal man, who remembers his name?
There will be. It's in my notes.
Student
Mega
9.
Man.
Student 9. Yeah.
Student 9.
If
yes.
you cannot present such evidence and he dies during the course of this adventure, you will have his father to deal with. And then there will be another pissing match, which I assume Birdie would really enjoy.
Don't king shame, Brick Red.
I don't do this to characters of any other class. Just put them on the spot like that and make them sweat and just leave them dangling there. I only do it to rogues.
Boy, that seemed fine.
I feel like
you almost killed him once.
Yours.
I feel like every time we come across some kind of ancient eldritch horror, you make Birdie talk to it.
And?
I think Reds is coming.
How long have you known Brick Road and watched Brick Road?
Thank you for noticing.
Should have played a Kenku rogue.
Yeah.
Can't make you talk to anyone.
Well, he can, but he doesn't get to complain about the results.
He just opens his mouth and it just sounds like jingling coins all the time.
No, that was hand axe.
So you guys fell down into this almost boiling hot pool of water in the middle of this obsidian spire. You came down the spiral staircase and you fought some, what my notes say are sulfur manders. I made up that word. Are you proud of me?
I am not proud
Vaguely.
of Brick Road.
Alright, I got a 40% from Destil and a 0 from everybody else. I'll take it.
Let's go with less disappointed.
I've only seen 3 of you here, though.
Huh?
Yeah?
Where's Mega Man?
I'm going to spawn him in right now.
Mega Man.
Are you going to insist on calling him Mega Man
So,
the whole game?
Only-
No, I meant literal Mega Man.
I mean, like,
No, we're here for real.
We had him.
can we like petition to change this? To change student number 9 to Mighty Student 9?
No.
No.
Asked and answered.
What are our light sources right now? As I recall, Adrex's sword was doused because he'd been dragged underwater.
Yes. But he's about to light it again.
Okay, so Adrex is going to light up his sword, and somebody was carrying a torch. Raazu?
Yeah, Raazu got it carrying a torch, and that also got doused, so this torch is probably useless now. So let me just go ahead and dock myself a torch. I am down to 2. I need to restock.
Worst case scenario, we have El Magico Torcho.
Okay. Oops, let me get my Photoshop
Adrex?
open here. Oh, that feel when you open Photoshop to get your map on screen and you have 19,000 pieces of REM bullshit all over the place.
Hey man, we slaughtered that REM bullshit that last couple hours there.
That's why I got so much of it open still.
How many MacGuffins do y'all have left?
Or none.
No,
Oh.
we just got post-game stuff now for...
We fucking destroyed it.
Birdie. Looking into this little cove here, into this little cavern. These are natural rock walls. This looks like it wasn't mined away. This looks like it had either naturally formed or maybe crumbled this way, but you do see markings and etch marks all along the stone of the walls that may have been worked by tools or maybe a very powerful creature of some sort. The walls here are very off-putting because they're neither natural nor unnatural, but they're decidedly not the smooth black obsidian of the spire that you descended through to get here. And Birdie, looking into this little cavern here, you see the remnants of a somewhat recent battle. There are 2 dead red Dragonborn laying here, and a dead Erd as well. You see scraps of metal and what look to be badly decomposed body parts. The body parts are very decidedly non-draconic. They're not identifiable just looking at them, but they're not covered in scales, and they don't have any draconic coloration like you become accustomed to.
Is there any equipment on the Dragonborn or the Erd?
Yes, and you see the colors of Kyung Zhao's guard.
Okay.
You also see quite a lot of metallic shrapnel laying around. You see the head of a black metal pick, the curled remains of half of a helmet, and a lot of shreds of what may have been plate mail armor. And it's littering this entire section of the cavern all throughout this donut loop here. Path turns both left and right on either side of this donut loop.
So when we were dealing with the exploding metal man back in the plateau, when it exploded, did it like send shrapnel flying everywhere?
It didn't, because the thing had already been mostly demolished. I mean, most of the shrapnel you found had been there because of the fall.
Okay.
Looking around this area, though, you don't see like a furnace-like structure that you came across in that cavern.
Okay.
You do see some of the larger body parts that are intact. There's an arm laying in one place and a few fingers in another. In one place, there's the lower half of a jaw. Some of the larger parts are still moving of their own accord. You see this arm like slapping its hand across the ground and trying to drag itself forward. Not towards you, not to anywhere in particular, just moving unnaturally on the ground.
Look to Student 9 and say, hey, what do you make of this?
Student 9 doesn't look like he makes anything of it. He just kind of looks dispassionately at the scene, and he says there's been a great battle here, very recently. I
Do you
shouldn't
know any
think it
reason
was...
why your people would be traveling here?
He looks at you and he says, my people.
And Wendy will kind of wave her hand. I'm sorry, I meant the metal men.
And he shakes his head and says they would be no people of mine.
What makes you different?
He looks over some of the metal scrap, and he motions to one, a particularly large piece that looks like it may have made up plate armor at some time. He says, it's difficult to tell in its rent state, but I make this to be dwarven metalwork. Do you not?
Wendy will peer down. She doesn't know much about dwarven metal. If you say so.
I don't deal much in Southling equipment or things.
He nods. He says, nonetheless, all the more reason it's better I come here under heavy guard. I extend to you once again my gratitude.
Birdie's going to sidle forward very slowly,
Okay.
and he's going to grab the hand that's still moving.
And you
Pick
pick
it
this hand up off the ground, and it's been dead for a long time. Are you trained in medicine?
Oh, I thought you said it was a metal hand that's still moving.
No, it's a hand. It's like a. It's a dead, decaying hand.
Duh.
I thought it was still moving.
It is. Now it's Birdie's holding it up and it's writhing around in his hand. It's not trying to grab at you or claw at you. It's just kind of mindlessly twitching and moving and flexing its knuckles.
I'm gonna run back into the room and throw it at Adrex.
Adrex,
Tell it,
this,
catch.
this hand bounces off your armor and clatters to the ground at your feet.
Adrex stares at Birdie.
I said catch.
Adrex, you are trained in medicine.
Yes.
And looking at the state of, first of all, the
Adrex
Dragonborn, the 2 Dragonborn guards and the Erd that are laying here are clearly dead and clearly badly wounded, but they weren't killed by an explosion like the one that you witnessed. They're still intact. Their body parts haven't been blown off. You see some of them do bear singe marks as though singed with great fire, but it looks like they died of puncture wounds or various blunt trauma. And this happened more recently that this hand Birdie just lobbed at you could have happened. That hand has been dead for a lot longer.
So, I do want to actually. Can I pinpoint the source, like the epicenter of the explosion that killed all these people?
Make an investigation check. And are you investigating to the north or the south?
Well, just the center of the, like where the bodies are strewn all the way around.
Yes.
Like I'm investigating like around here where I'm at on the
Okay.
north.
No, looking around, you don't find where the epicenter of the blasts must have been. It looked like this metal man was blown apart, and some manner of zombie or some kind of undead creature. But the 2 Dragonborn guards and the Erd are laying there on the ground.
Raazu sniffs the air, and within 60 feet, are there any celestial fiends or undead within that radius?
Well, yeah, there's a undead arm laying at Adrex's feet that's twitching on the ground, and there's a few
Beyond
fingers
that?
twitching around in the bottom half of a jaw. What strikes you as odd is there's not enough of these moving parts to build a complete zombie. It's just like a patchwork of parts. You do see other organic bits laying around, but they're not moving, like pieces of bone, what might have been a torso or part of a leg, gibbets splattered onto the wall.
All right, so I have a
Raazu
theory.
says... Okay, go ahead.
Hear me out. Zombie suicide bomber.
Adrex
Right.
throws the arm back at Birdie.
Not a bad theory to start with, maybe.
Okay, give me a couple seconds while I run up a stat block. That's a great idea.
I think I fought those in Resident Evil.
But Raazu says, there is fell magic keeping that hand moving. What surprises me is that it's just the hand. And these little gibbets of people.
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot something.
But in any case,
Here's your man, Rolf. Because you brought him.
that was a good idea.
Yeah, for the moment, he's hiding behind Adrex.
He's
That's
probably
right.
Raazu looks up this cavern. Then, do I hear anything off in this direction?
You listen for a few moments, and just oppressive stillness, a disquieting stillness in the air. You're not sure what kind of sounds you would expect to hear, but standing where you are, you can't even hear the gurgling of the water that you just came out of.
Raazu motions for the others to form up behind her, and she starts to move up into the passageway.
Okay. The passageway curves around to the right, and it ends in what looks like a crumbled wall. And you can see behind this stone of the wall of this cave you're in, splotches of the smooth black obsidian of the spire. And this wall looks to climb about 20 or 30 feet up, and then you can see an opening up above you.
I assume Student 9 is moving with us.
Yes, he's moving with you.
Hey, Wendy, you think you can fly up there with a rope?
So there's like a hole up here.
More like you're looking. It's more like a cliff face in front of you. There's an opening about 20, 30 feet. You don't have the space to fly here, but you could run up the wall.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on.
Yeah.
So I'll run up there.
Okay.
Does it feel like there's a drop in front of me?
No, actually, when you get up top, you feel with your feet, the floor again feels like this obsidian of the spire. And you've left the stone of the cave behind when you get to the top.
Alright, so is the wall obsidian as well?
Parts of it, it looks like it was... This is where the obsidian and the natural stone meet, and part of the structure is crumbled down into the cave.
Alright, we're gonna have to do this in order from lightest to heaviest, because I can't tighten this into the wall, since it's obsidian. So, Birdie, come up here and then help me hold it for Red, and then Adrex, and then Raazu.
Okay.
And Krolf is between us. I don't know where Student 9 is, though.
Is it impolite to ask a robot man how much he weighs?
I don't know. Do you ask him how much he weighs?
It's probably engraved on his foot.
The only other robot man I'm familiar with in D&D are the Modrons, and they all weigh the exact same amount. Birdie. Getting up to the top here. You're once again in just the black obsidian of the spire. And it's even with your dark vision, it can be very difficult to see because there's not features or shadows as such. It's just kind of... Imagine being in a room where all the walls are made out of Ventablack. It's difficult to distinguish where the corners are without squinting your eyes and looking carefully. But it opens up in this direction and this direction. And after a few moments, you guys manage to hoist everybody up this 20 or 30 foot cliff or so.
Which way are we going first? Going further off into this to the south, or are we going to east? It's not that Raazu is going to make an executive decision.
Okay.
Continue looking down this way.
Okay. And with your torch, it's actually a lot easier to see. There's not much to see because most of the walls are smooth stone. But as you come down to the south and look to your right here, the passage also opens up into a room to your left. But this area here, you see a raised dais, a square dais with a few steps leading up onto it. And in the center of the dais here, and then on either side of it, at your level in the room, are three large rectangular plates set into the floor. At first glance, they look like the same material as the walls and the floors of the spire. But as you look at them in your torchlight, you can see designs on them.
Bring the light over closer so Birdie can get a good look at them.
Okay. Birdie, what are we doing?
I guess, can you describe the designs?
At first glance, they look like they may be very minute, like runic symbols. But not the kind of runic symbols you're familiar with. Well, for one thing, there's two areas on the plate, large ovular sections of it that are completely smooth. The designs snake around them. Go ahead and make me a Arcana check, please.
$27.
Okay. Imagine looking at like a vinyl record, and if you didn't know what it was, and you didn't know like how it worked, you would think it was just hundreds and hundreds of concentric circles. It's only after you know how the record works that you realize it's one long groove spiraling inward. looking at these lines, you think much the same way. They're straight one section and round the next, and they sweep in and out and through each other, but they never cross each other. And you realize that looking at it, you can't see the endpoints of any particular line. It seems to be one single line, maybe a millimeter in width, if that, covering the entire base of this structure in thousands and thousands of turns, like a long maze, except for the two ovular smooth sections in about the middle and a thinner line at the front. So two sections like this in the middle, and then in the front a thinner section that looks much longer and much thinner.
Okay.
Weird.
Are the patterns different on these two?
And examining these two, same deal, pretty much the same exact description. You can't be certain that the lines are the same without scouring for a very, very long time. There'd be no way to know.
Is there any seams?
You see a seam around the edge of the obsidian block into the material in the dais, but it doesn't look like a seam is like this opens up. Doesn't look like there might be a cavity beneath it. It's just a part of material was cut away, so an equivalent amount of material could be placed into the recess.
Okay, there's another door. There's another chamber just off this one. So let's make sure that we don't have anything coming up behind us.
Red, what are you doing in this chamber back here?
Keeping watch while they investigate.
Okay.
Do I hear anything in the side of the room that I'm on?
No, everything's very silent. It's a very unnerving silence. It feels unnatural. Like you watch as your companions step up the hallway and start investigating in here, but you can't hear the shuffle of their boots or their clothing, even though they're only 20 or 30 feet away from you.
Well, that's not weird with Birdie, but it's pretty weird with Raazu.
Coming into this room, you see similar obsidian plates, 6 of them in each of the alcoves. Or, I'm sorry, 1 in each of the 6 alcoves.
More of these plates.
And these ones also have visible lines on them, like you saw, but there's no smooth areas to them at all. So the entire plate has these uniform lines going all over them. In the back of the room, way back here, is an alcove, and you see an obsidian rod running from the floor to the ceiling, maybe about 12 or 13 feet ahead. And looking at the rod, you see similar lines snaking up it.
Raazu looks up at this thing. Then looks back to Red. Think this kind of thing might be trapped?
Now let me take a look.
Yeah. Raazu holds the flashlight.
To, take a careful look for traps.
Okay. What are you doing to check for traps on this obsidian rod?
Before touching it, I'm just visually inspecting it, seeing if there's anything there that looks like it might be a suspicious trigger. If I don't see anything like that, I'll pull out a probe from my thieves' tool, just a length of wire, and see if I can find anything that makes different sound when I tap it, or feels like it might release or move if you put any pressure on it without actually suppressing it.
Okay. You don't see anywhere where a mechanism could be hiding, and you know from your descent into this spire that the walls are too hard to break with picks and spikes. Taking out your thieves' tools and tapping at it, you get a solid sound from the rod and from the walls and the floor as well. It doesn't seem hollow. And you don't see any breaks in the line as you look for it. You can't be sure it's one continuous like carving tracing this line around this rod hundreds and hundreds of times all the way up to the roof. But examining it and taking your tool and tracing the line for a while, you don't find where either of the endpoints are. But no, you don't see. It doesn't trigger a trap. It doesn't look like it. You don't see where you could have fixed a trap to this, unless it's some good old magical BS.
What do you think, Red?
Could be something I'm not seeing, but nothing jumps out at me.
Does it look like this rod can be removed?
Looking at the floor, You see a similar looking seam as the rectangular plates have, so it's definitely set into the floor. The ceiling's too high overhead to check visually, though.
Well, how long does this rod extend up from the floor?
All the way to the ceiling.
Okay.
But whether it's affixed
Maybe...
there or there's a similar seam, you can't tell.
Does it rotate if I try and move it?
Make a strength check.
That would be a 1.
A 1. I mean, you try to move it this way and that, and it doesn't feel like it'll move, but then you realize, oh, I'm a rogue, and I've got like a nothing strength.
Raazu calls back to Adrex and says, "Hey, Adrex, we need some muscle over here."
On it.
Hey, Wendy, you want to switch places real quick?
Yeah.
Let me, yeah, there we go.
Adrex, let's get a strength check here.
Right there.
Do you give Adrex any instruction on how you want him to move it? Because otherwise, he's going to do his own thing.
No.
All right.
Try not to break it. If it feels like it's going to break, maybe stop.
19.
19. So what do you do to
Strength
this
check.
thing?
Adrex will gently turn it since he wasn't told not to break it.
I want you to listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
Are you turning it clockwise, or are you turning it counterclockwise?
Counterclockwise.
And at first, it doesn't move at all. You put some more torque into it, and then you do feel a little bit of give, and you kind of get the sense of it. You adjust the position of your hands. You reach one way high up over your head, and another kind of down by your knees. And you get some rotation to it, and it will spin kind of in place. And you feel that it is recessed in the floor and ceiling, but it takes a lot of work. This would get very tiring very quickly if you were to give this more than a couple of turns.
Raazu steps a little bit, shines the light so you can look at either of these alcoves.
Okay.
Does it look like anything's happening when Adrex is turning the rod?
No, and you would expect, considering the amount of effort that he's putting into it, you would expect to at least hear the grinding of stone in the mechanism he's moving, but you don't. It's very, very weirdly still.
Student 9, what do you make of the markings on these plates?
He comes over and turns his attention to the plate, and he kneels down next to it. He holds out one of his 4 hands, splays out the digits, and you see the digits working independently of each other, tracing these various lines.
That's weird.
And he tells you he doesn't know what to make of them yet. He stands back up and looks to you and says, "Perhaps we should redouble our efforts into making this place safe, and then I can conduct some proper research."
Okay, I just thought that you might have some kind of insight. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't seem.
Oh, you keep turning.
No, you're good, Adrex. Thanks.
Good work, Adrex.
Good work.
Adrex plops his butt on the ground.
Okay?
Boy.
His butt explodes,
Oh,
killing him instantly.
Looking into this room here, Birdie, you have the obsidian floor, and there's a pool of water in the center of this room, and it does feel extremely hot. The temperature rises quite a bit stepping into this room. Feels almost like a sauna.
How deep is the water?
You have no idea standing from where you are. You're 10 feet away from this pool.
Oh.
Raazu lets out a whistle and calls down, "Hey, we're moving forward, guys."
I'm just going to stand right here and throw something in the water.
What do you throw in the water?
I'm looking through my backpack to see what I have.
50 pounds of pirate bullshit.
Birdie just starts upending like garbage bags into the mysterious water.
I'll throw my spare dagger in the water.
Okay, and when you toss it into the water, when you give it a spin, is it spinning clockwise or counterclockwise?
Rimwise.
Countercyclonic.
If I threw it, it would be going counterclockwise.
Okay.
Because,
And you hear
like,
the light splash as it hits the water and vanishes from view.
Because we're in the northern hemisphere, otherwise, if we're in the southern hemisphere, it would spin the other way.
well, no, I was just like end over end.
That's actually a ruse. Like, it depends on the way that the stone is shaped around the river, which way it spins.
Yeah.
And you've lost a dagger.
Okay.
Oh,
gonna-
that was hilarious. Let's step up here.
Okay.
No,
Raazu,
are you staying back there?
No, I'll come with you.
leaning over with your torch, it's again extremely difficult to
Ah.
gauge the depth of this water because it's in the pool made of the same solid black and smooth material as the rest of this area.
Is the water rippling from where the dagger went into it?
Yeah, very slightly. From where you're standing, you can feel that the pool is extremely hot. It's not bubbling or boiling, and you don't see any light from beneath the pool like you did with the sulfur manders when you first arrived. But the pool's edged with this smooth obsidian, and looking at the far end of the pool over here, you see a spiral stair descending down into it and turning the corner of the room around the edge of the pool, and it just disappears into the depths.
I'm taking crazy notes.
I keep expecting to hear ding.
50 monkeys with 50 typewriters typing notes.
Slide the carriage back over to the other side there, Destil. I'm going to shine the light into this passageway down here.
And looking down this way, you see another obsidian room. You see part of the room is filled with stone, where the outside structure is crumbled inward, and a southern exit that leads, turns right, heads down a set of stairs.
Raazu will call it. We got some stairs heading downward. Maybe we should probably check the other way at that T-junction before we continue further.
Yeah, let's clear this floor first.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tie my string to a python and dip it into the water just to see how deep the water is.
Okay, and eventually your fingers are just above the plane of the water, and the spike hasn't reached the bottom.
Okay. Not going in that water.
Yet.
Just to kind of indulge Birdie's curiosity toward it a little bit. Can I see about how far down these stairs go? Can I gauge that based on how far down the stairs
They
go?
descend very steeply. You see them descend all the way to this back wall, and then turn right, and then they disappear out of sight. So they obviously continue further down than you can see.
It's pretty deep down there, I'd have to say. Anyway, let's head on back.
And you guys climb down the drop back into the caves.
Yep.
Tiptoe around the dead Dragonborn.
Like, is there anything of value on the dead Dragonborn? Might as well rifle through his pockets while we're passing through.
Sure. They're carrying... Between them and the Erd, they're carrying 28 gold pieces of Kang Zhao's treasure. That you immediately identify as such, because who else's treasure would it be? And if they're down here, he certainly knows about it, knows how much of his treasure they were carrying. By the way, if you're going to add that gold to your sheet, make sure you put it in a little separate line marked Kang Zhao's treasure.
If you don't, though, he can't prove you took it.
That's a good point. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that he took it.
Sure.
And mark
that
that.
seems reasonable.
I'm gonna bring the light down and look into this. Look toward this area here.
Listen, since we played last week, I watched all 3 of the Hobbit films, so I feel like I could go for another session of Smaug right now. If we shining light down this hallway.
How to barrel scene though?
How to what?
A nice barrel scene.
Oh
yeah,
my
we're
God.
gonna do a barrel scene.
So we couldn't do it in Dungeons and Dragons. Not really built for a barrel scene.
We already did one.
But if I do 7th Sea, I would absolutely do a barrel scene.
We already did a barrel scene.
Did we?
Yeah, that's how we got to that one cell.
I have no recollection of this.
Barrel scene will come back.
Okay. And again, this hallway ends much like the first one you went down, with a crumbling section of wall. And 20 or 30 feet overhead, you can see an opening where the spire has crumbled down in.
Oh, looks like we're going back up again.
Laying on the ground right here is one of those rectangular black plates, but this one has been cracked in half all the way across. It looks like it's fallen from above.
Oh. I don't know what to make of the black plates. Like, can I, like, is it broken into pieces?
No,
Like,
it's just split cleanly down the middle. It looks like it fell from the hole above, and the impact against the ground here might have split it.
Oh. I was going to take a piece of it, but I guess I can't do that.
You can, actually. One of you has a tool that's designed to do exactly that.
Oh. Oh! Can I have the tool? Who has the tool?
You're a tool.
Got him.
That was hateful, and I would like an apology right after you give me that tool.
Can I inspect the ruin of this corridor to see if there's any obvious signs of what made it collapse?
Where are you inspecting? At the bottom here?
Yeah. The end, basically. Like, seeing if there's any, like,
Okay.
places where it looks like
Maybe our
torn out of it, or if it was collapsed in some way, like, just looking for any sign of why, basically.
The entrance
Maybe
into
our
the
stone
spire
base.
you came in high above you
Mhm.
looked like it had been mined. But the whole way in, you haven't seen any sign that these smooth black walls have any kind of erosion patterns. It doesn't look like they've been worked. You've been explicitly told that regular tools won't damage them. So the things that fill your head of what could possibly have broken this wall and caused this collapse is nothing good.
And is that kind of what, if we describe this kind of thing to Wendy would be able to give that kind of information to us? Because Wendy was a stonemason of some kind, right?
Wendy just has stonemason's tools proficiency, yeah.
Yeah, not this kind of stone, though. And Winnie, that's your assessment as well. Typically, when you're doing stonework, especially mining, you're dealing with the natural erosion and shifting patterns in the various rock veins and things. But this is one solid uniform material. And you can't imagine how it naturally formed, and knowing how hard and unyielding it is, you can't imagine what it could damage it.
Well, I guess we'll head up into that alcove. Presume there's probably something similar to the area up here.
Who's going up first?
I mean, the only one of us that can climb walls is Wendy.
Yeah, I'll go up.
And when you go up, do you climb clockwise or counterclockwise?
Clockwise.
Very good.
Add that to your notes, Brickroad.
The wall will
And
remember this.
at the top is a very similar room to the one that you stood in before. It looked at one time to have had multiple alcoves. Oh, you know what? You can hear this one too. Multiple alcoves with these obsidian plates. One has crumbled down and fallen to the floor below. Another alcove over here has been completely caved in. And where the sixth alcove ought to be is a hallway going back to the area you guys went earlier.
All right, I'll help everyone up.
Okay. Birdie, going into this little chamber here and looking this way, you can't pierce the darkness of this room. You're not sure if it's just the blackness of the walls or old age, but your eyesight fails you looking that direction.
Okay.
Raazu sniffs the air again. Let me mark that off one more time. Fiends, undead, celestials, within 60 feet.
You need line of sight to use that, do you not?
That is not behind total cover.
That is not behind total cover.
Yeah.
And you detect no fiends, celestials, or undead within
Okay,
60
I'll
feet
go
that are
first
not
in
behind
here.
total cover.
And I'll use my wind to try to figure out what's in front of us.
Okay. Wendy, stepping into this chamber, you immediately become aware of ragged breathing as particularly loud and labored breathing from this corner of the room. For example, you're aware of it once you step into the chamber. It becomes very obvious the direction. When you were 5 feet behind you, you could not hear it at all. This is it's a larger chamber than the others that you've seen. 6 alcoves encircle the room, but one is completely, down in this corner here, is completely demolished and caved in. And there's a creature in the back corner of the room here, breathing raggedly, and you sense some other kind of presence in the room, but you cannot pinpoint where or how many.
All right, I'll step back
Mm-hmm.
Come up behind
where I
Wendy
can no
with
longer
light.
hear it,
Okay.
and I'll tell Raazu and the group here what I just saw, heard, sensed.
You said breathing?
Yeah, and there was something else in there, but I couldn't get a beat on it.
Raazu steps back to try and break line of sight with her light. And then taps her chin for a moment.
Can you do me a
Raazu's
favor?
lost
I'm
in thought.
curious about something. In like a second or two, could you bang on the wall with your polearm? And Wendy will go back into that room.
Okay.
Raazu plants a boot against the wall that she's standing behind and then kicks it really hard.
And
Can I
Wendy,
hear it?
you hear the clang, but it sounds so far away.
Yeah, and I'll come back in and I'll say, it sounded like you were like miles away, not right next door. There's something going on with...
It's dampening
Does the
sound.
wind feel different in there? Like, does it seem like it's just the movement of the air that's wrong?
No, and actually, if this darkness is as complete as Birdie and Raazu have described it, you feel like you might be at a distinct advantage in this situation.
Yeah, and I'll just tell them, like, it's not the air transmitting the sound. I can feel the air just fine. There's something else going on, something magical.
Birdie lights a candle and hands it to Wendy and says, "Walk," and asks her to walk forward again.
Sure.
And you do so, and the candle flickers and snuffs out as you step into the chamber.
Can I smell what you know that's when
Oh,
you
yeah.
snuff a candle?
Yes, you
That
get
scent.
the trail of smoke comes off of it. Now something
Yeah.
has doused this candle.
Yeah, and I'll walk back.
Once Raazu sees that, Raazu shrugs, douses her torch, and stows it.
Adrex frowns.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Wendy, get your magical light out.
Yeah, and Wendy is already reaching into her pack because she wants to see which is going to win.
Okay.
Hopefully, it doesn't break her
Heads in.
magic torch.
You guys watch her step into the room, and I mean, you're accustomed. This was never the brightest light in the world. When she steps in the room, the light gets even dimmer. Effectively, she has 5 foot square around her of dim light.
And I'll step back in. I'll say, "What did it look like?"
Looked like it was already a bad light to begin with, but it got even worse as you stepped in there.
All right. Well, if we're going to deal with whatever it is making that noise, how about this? I'll hold on to this. I'll step in close. I'll have some vision similar to how I usually see, and then you guys can just aim at what I'm standing next to. Raazu, you can swing your pole arm over my shoulder or whip. The others you can shoot.
Sounds good.
And if I need to swap out, Raazu, I'll hand you the torch.
Righto. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Let's go in.
Okay.
Raazu, wait. Raazu says, wait for everyone else to catch up over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're still like way the hell over here. Let's see.
What did you do with the torch in your hand, Raazu?
I doused it, stowed it. Unless Rolf wants to hold on to it.
Yeah, no, Rolf would very much like to hold a lit torch and stay back here. While you
By all
guys,
means, then.
while you guys deal with the horrible, silent chamber of darkness.
By all means, then.
Adrex, do you still have your sword out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's
Is
next?
Rolf shoving me to get away?
I mean, under the circumstances, he'd probably feel much safer if you stayed out here with him.
That's okay. That's what I thought.
And yeah, Wendy, when you step back into the room, you hear the ragged breathing from the corner once again.
All right. Let's step in.
Tap Wendy on the shoulder. Okay, go ahead.
Tell me when I need to roll for initiative, Rick.
A few more steps into the room, you realize the floor here is slick with blood.
Yeah.
Is Wendy going in alone?
The whole
So-
group's coming. It's just there's not a lot of space behind me.
Wendy has 5 feet of dim light around her. If you're not standing
Maybe
within
Adrex
5 feet of Wendy, you
Maybe
are effectively
Adrex
blind.
should go up right behind Wendy then.
Well, okay. All right. Adrex was looking after Rolf and Student 9. But...
Adrex,
yeah.
when you step into the room, the flame on your dagger snuffs out. But not completely. The metal remains red hot. And it still gives off a dim glow. And you also have effectively a 5 foot radius around you of dim light.
High
Adrex
five.
frowns again.
The universe conspires to rob Adrex of his fires.
It's like it's just a dagger now.
Red, can you give us some support from back there, still keeping the others safe?
What can Adrex see around me? What's causing the blood?
Adrex, looking in the corner of this room, you recognize Huyan. And she's down on the ground with her back against the wall and her head stooped forward, and she's clutching her torso. She's clutching her chest, and the smell of blood is thick. And she has difficulty lifting her head in very raspy voice. She says, "Fell things."
Raazu sniffs the air again.
She looks up in front of her, sees friggin' Wendy with no eyes, and is like, "Oh Jesus, it's death."
Now's a good time to roll for initiative.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Well, then I
that's
guess I won't dock myself that then.
I'll dock you.
Oh, look at that 2 I rolled.
What?
So can I see any of this going down from completely dark for me?
The room's completely dark. You can't see into it, but you can effectively see a 5 foot square around Wendy and a
okay.
5 foot square around Adrex.
Okay.
Good planning.
Adrex, you very quickly, as soon as Huyan lifts her head and speaks those labored words, you feel a rush of cold wind move in a circular pattern around the room.
That tickles.
What do you do?
Matrix loves it.
Oh wait, I got a light source. Hold on. Shit, this is bad. Well, Wendy's got 5 feet around her.
I've
right?
got 5 feet around me.
Yeah. All right, so I will move back here then.
Okay. So yeah, Red, from your position, if you crane your neck into the room, you can see Huyan in the corner, grievously injured.
I'll make your awesome fire sword red. For
Windy.
glowiness.
You feel the same cold wind blow in this circular pattern around the room after Huyan speaks.
Alright, I'm gonna ready in action. If anything steps next to Huyan, I'm going to attack it.
Okay. Adrex.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick on you first.
Okay.
Huyan gasps next to you. You see her grimace in pain. And Adrex, you're suddenly aware of a form next to you. You can scarcely see it in the dim glow of your sword. But it's definitely some form of non-corporeal undead. And looking at this thing, it just looks like shadows and smoke and tendrils, and it has this vaguely humanoid shape. And looking at it, it doesn't have a face. It has a head, and it has scraggly flowing hair, but no eyes or nose or ears. Just a huge, gaping, toothed maw. And it bites at you.
Okay.
I have a 24 to hit.
Yeah. That hits.
This is a lot of damage.
Oh shit.
A lot of damage? I like a little damage.
Oh, well, you shouldn't be fighting this guy then. $37 points of necrotic damage.
Yep.
And if you would please make me a Constitution saving throw.
Killing you instantly, no save.
I'm giving him a save. Come on.
No. Adrex is down. Does he get the save?
He does get the save, yes.
All right.
Hey,
It's at 29.
Okay.
27.
And this thing just reaches out with this maw, and you don't feel a piercing bite. You're just aware of a very intense cold. And then the thing kind of flickers in place. It looks like it's on all sides of Adrex at once, feeding on him. And then he crumples to the floor, and the glow of his sword goes out.
Sentinel.
Yeah, okay. What are you attacking with?
The whip.
The whip, okay.
That is going to be a 21 to hit.
21 will hit.
Yeah, let's put some Paladin stank on it. Let's see, that's going to be 4 slashing damage and 17 radiant damage. But I get the feeling that
Where's
That
the
my-
radiant damage come from?
or no, I'm sorry, thunder damage. Yeah,
Okay, so 17 thunder damage.
yeah, 17 thunder damage.
Okay.
Plus, I'm gonna guess if this is an undead or a fiend.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's definitely undead.
It's gonna take another 6 damage on top of that.
Okay.
Another 6 thunder damage on top of that.
And yes, changing radiant to thunder damage was intended to be a nerf. Why do you ask?
Got him.
And you lash out with this whip as you see Adrex crumble to the ground. And drawing a bead on this thing is difficult because it seems to both be in physical space and not be in physical space at the same time. Like watching some like a strove light in a fog. Hitting it with your whip or any other melee weapon is not difficult, but hitting it with any ranged weapon would be very difficult indeed. And that was your reaction.
That was my reaction, yes.
All right. That's going to bring us to Birdie.
I'm going to reach into my pack and feed Adrex the potion of healing I have.
Okay. Yeah, you guys picked up a whole bunch of those, as I recall.
We did.
Please get 6 hit points back.
Okay.
And then I'm going to cunning action, disengage, and go stand next to Huyan.
Stand next to her. How? Like stand over her, guarding her, or you just want to be like away from this guy?
Away from him.
Okay.
I'm right here. Yeah, I'm not standing. I'm not guarding Huyan. I don't like Huyan. It's just she's on the opposite side of the room as the whole face monster.
Adrex.
Yeah.
You feel like when you come to after getting some hit points back, your eyes shoot open and you let out this gasp, and it feels like you were just floating in cold blackness for a very, very long time. Looking at the room, it couldn't have been more than a few seconds, but it feels like you were like unplugged from reality from some length of time, and your sword flickers back, and for one moment it blares up brightly, the flame on it, but then again dims down to its red glow. That is going to bring us to Raazu.
Raazu is going to press the attack.
Okay.
Okay, that's only a... yeah, it's not gonna... That's only an 11 to hit.
11 will not do it.
Okay, then. How about a 20?
20 will hit.
Not quite natural 20, but a 20 nonetheless. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a little extra Paladin stank on this. So I just got these, and I need to break them in a little bit.
Okay.
You're looking at 3 slashing damage.
Okay.
And 16 thunder damage.
All right.
That was a level 3 slot for that.
As you start beating this thing, I mean, when it sees Adrex is coming to, you see it going down for another bite, and you start beating it off your bestest Dragonborn buddy.
Hey, damn right.
Moving or staying put?
Staying put.
Okay, that's going to bring us to Red.
All right. Let's see here. So which square is this thing actually in?
It's in this square, but it's also not in that square.
Okay.
You're gonna be, if you make a ranged attack, you're gonna be at disadvantage.
Move to there.
Okay.
Pull out a. Boy, let's look at the options there. Let's go with the Kraken Priest Dagger to start.
Okay.
And try stabbing it. That'll stab an armor class of 25.
25 will hit.
Okay.
You messed up if I said it didn't.
It would be.
Have I ever thrown anything at you guys with an armor class of 25?
Probably, but I don't know the
That
specifics.
dragon turtle.
Yeah, I feel like a dragon or a dragon turtle, I'm sure, at some point. So that'll be a total of 22 damage.
Okay. And the thing is non-corporeal, so you don't have the option to snap the dagger off. There's nothing to snap it off into. But
Okay.
you slash through this thing with the dagger, and it definitely recoils in pain. The magic of the dagger is biting through its resistance.
Let's give Adrex a bonus to hit against it as a bonus action.
Okay.
Bonus being advantage.
Adrex, you're laying prone down there.
All right. Stand up.
Okay.
Brush myself off. Point at it and say, "Red, do that again." Commander strike.
That'll hit an armor class of. Let me make sure my bonuses are right because I just increased my
See how the
proficiency.
die
Yep,
is?
that'll hit an armor class of 20.
20 is good.
Kraken Priest Dagger again. Just go ahead and do another 26 damage.
Okay.
And add another 8 on top of it.
That's a lot of goddamn damage. You're using the same dagger?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Red, you slash through it with this dagger, and it's definitely not enjoying that. You see its mouth gape open as though crying out in pain, but no sound issues forth.
Second attack. I've got this cool dagger that's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stab it with it.
Commander Strike is so good. I love it.
I thought it was a claymore.
Well, that is a 16 to hit.
16 will hit.
16
Yay!
will hit. Yay! 3 plus.
Sorry, student.
9 fire damage.
Are you rolling d8s for fire damage?
Hey, you said it was 2d8.
I am almost positive it's 2d6.
You said 2d8, but the book says 2d6 for that weapon.
Okay, then I misspoke. It's definitely supposed to be 2d6.
Very well.
Sorry about that. What's funny is I've got my player's handbook here, which has my rogue, which has the same exact weapon.
So 5 fire damage.
Okay.
Significantly less fire damage.
Significantly less. Fire damage is over. And moving or staying put? I'm not bitching at you. I'm just trying to figure out what you're doing.
I'm not done.
That's like the third time he's accused me of bitching at him today.
Alright. Third attack.
Okay. This is your offhand weapon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh,
Nope.
nope.
Yeah, not gonna do it.
I don't like this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's action surge.
Okay.
Let's start this merry-go-round all over again. Hey, Red!
Do it again!
Attack it again!
Can I actually get sneak attack again? I've already used it.
You can't, because it's the same turn.
Plus, I don't have another reaction to stab it.
I can.
I'm pretty sure stabbing it is a reaction, right?
Can
When you use
wait.
Commander Strike.
Oh yeah, you need to use a reaction. Yes.
Birdie can shoot
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's right.
I can
Oh,
shoot it.
I totally forgot I had advantage on that thing, too. So you know what? No. Forget all that. I'm going to hit it. I'm going to do an advantage this time.
For your offhand attack.
This is the main one.
Oh, okay.
So that is a 26 to hit.
26 will hit.
Alright, because this is main hand. Bye! For 13 damage.
Okay.
And... make a strength saving throw, please?
To what end? What are you trying to do?
I am trying
To what end?
make it. I'm trying to make it prone.
You're not. You can't knock this thing prone. It doesn't have a physical form.
Okay.
I mean, you can expend the dice to get the extra damage. That'll
To get
work,
the extra
but
damage?
you
Alright,
can't knock it
I'll do
prone.
that then. It's another 8 damage.
Okay.
I didn't think I could make it prone, but don't.
No, it's very clear that this ghostly thing can't be knocked prone.
All right. Offhand attack.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 14.
14 does not hit.
14 does not hit.
Bummer.
Nope.
Attack number 3.
This is attack number 6, but who's counting? Hey!
Red. Yay! 4.
The best
How do
crit.
you do
Oh,
it?
those, no,
The
those are
best
the wrong
crit.
dice. Those are the wrong dice. So, haha.
Of course.
I get to roll these d4s.
He did a lot better on the D4s.
That's 13. Is the fire damage double? Is
Yes.
the fire damage double? It does.
Oh yeah, no, you
It's
rolled.
damage dice.
Yes, indeed.
4d6.
So how much was that on the D4s?
13.
Okay.
8 plus 5 is 13 plus 3, 6, 9 fire damage.
And you lunge out with your knife, your little squirrely fairy boy knife that you think is a sword, but
Claymore.
it's not. Yeah, claymore.
It's a claymore. Shut up.
It's a claylass.
It's a clayless.
And you slash out at this thing, and again it throws back its head and opens its maw and screams. But as it does, its jaws open wider and wider and wider until they're consuming the rest of its form from the inside out, and just from the blackness within spew forth
Tits.
many shadowy tendrils with much smaller mouths that start lashing out in all directions.
That's lame.
Moving or staying put?
Staying put, because Lord knows how many opportunity attacks will trigger if I move.
Okay. Wendy, you're up.
All right. I'm gonna go punch a ghost.
Oh, there's not ghosts anymore. Now there's crazy shadow worms.
That's like a ghost.
They're ghost-like, yeah.
Ghost-esque.
So I'll toss out a quick bonus action.
Okay.
Oh, that D6 really did me dirty there. But I'll swing with my longsword afterwards.
Okay.
That's more like it. 18 to hit.
18 will hit.
4. 10 magical slashing.
Okay, and you start hacking at one of these shadow snakes, and it screams silently.
I'm good.
You're gonna stay put right there?
I'm staying put right here.
All right, shadow snakes. Wendy, how many hit points do you have?
Oh, I mean,
Lots?
do I have to tell you?
Yes.
83.
Red, can you beat 83? Can you go lower than 83?
I'm sorry.
How many hit points do you
lower
have?
than 83. Well, I think I've got 48.
48. Raazu, can you beat 48?
I got 37.
Adrex, can you beat 37?
You know the answer to this.
Do I?
Yes.
I get 4 attacks, huh?
Yeah.
I have good
Sample
news.
one of them.
The good news is you do enjoy a +2 AC bonus because you're in dim light. You know, the partial obscurement.
Okay.
Adrex,
Yeah.
I have a 13.
No.
I have a 9.
No.
I have a 15.
No.
I have a 21.
Yeah.
7 points of necrotic damage.
Okay.
And please be making a Constitution saving throw.
Adrex is down again.
Make that saving throw, though.
Plus whatever, because of
Be
Raazu.
glad it's not a strength save.
Yeah,
Yeah,
plus
do I get a
4 to
bonus?
that.
That is a 24.
24. So you guys watch as Adrex splits this horrible ghost in quadrants with his mighty blows, and as soon as these worms form from where the thing was standing, they all lunge in at him, and he does his best to blast their blows away, but one of them gets its teeth into him, and he crumples to the ground, and all 4 of them look like they're about to dive down and feed.
Does a 23 hit one of them?
Oh yeah. Are you hitting the same one that Wendy hit?
Yeah. No. I'm gonna hit
No?
hit a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. I get an extra.
Oh, damage splitting Raazu. At it again.
Oh yeah. So that is 6 slashing damage,
Okay.
10 thunder damage.
Okay, so you hit a second one of these tendrils that are lunging down towards your bestest Dragonborn buddy. And again, it writhes back and throws its teeth out in agony where you strike it. Moving or staying put?
Well, that was my reaction.
That was your reaction. So you're not moving or staying put. Birdie.
I'm going to shoot whichever one Raazu attacked. I guess we'll say this one.
Okay, you do so at disadvantage. They enjoy the same flickering effect that the ghost had.
Well, I get advantage because I have people.
People
So
around.
No, you don't,
Yeah.
because you have disadvantage because of the flicker effect.
but
See how that works?
So I get neither advantage nor disadvantage.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
You'll get sneak attack, and Brickred sounds so smug.
You don't get sneak attack. No.
Why not? He has an ally within 5 feet of it.
Right, but he has disadvantage on the roll. Sneak attack is an attack against a creature that, as long as you don't have an ally within 5 feet and do not have disadvantage on the roll, which he does.
All right, I'll buy it this time, Brickroad, but that's your birthday and Christmas.
He's not rolling at disadvantage, but he can't use his sneak attack. He still has disadvantage.
Okay. So the advantage
Wait.
does not cancel out the disadvantage. Okay.
Yeah, you don't roll at disadvantage, you still have disadvantage.
Okay.
Nodal doesn't let his fighters use a bonus action on action surge. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So that's a 20.
It's not bonus action, Surge.
27 to hit.
27 will hit. Can you do less than 1 damage?
No. In fact, I got a 6.
And yeah, one of them, you send their. You're using the magic bowstring, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You send your arrow singing into what just looks like this cloud of horrible teethed worms, and one of them just dissipates, flickers out of existence, and you now only see 3 of them lunging in to finish eating Adrex.
Birdie screams, "I just fixed him."
Raazu.
All right, let's go ahead and attack. This time, one of the ones that I'm gonna hit the one that Wendy hit.
Okay.
That's a 20 to hit.
Will hit. Can you do less than 2 points of damage?
No, I cannot.
And that one also
crack the whip, and that'll also go poof.
flickers out.
Let's take another swing at. I'm just that's all here. Okay. Let's take a swing at another one. Neither of those have been injured yet.
Nice.
That's a 10 to hit.
It was a what's a hit?
10.
A
10.
10.
1-0.
10 does not do it.
Bummer. All right.
It is a bummer if I get back to Adrex's turn. Or if I get back to Worm's turn, that is.
Wormy like worm face, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Adrex knows I don't kill characters, so he has nothing to worry about.
No, you only kill my characters. Red, take your turn.
Red, go ahead. You're up.
I've been killed like 6 times.
Let's stab this one.
Okay. Using
How
your...
many times were those that you were killed, and how many with Craig and Priest dagger? How many were those times that you just died, Nodal? Let's be real.
Well, Nodal has the good sense to wait until a point in the campaign where you guys have access to resurrection.
That's true.
Yeah,
22
that's
on
true.
armor class.
22 will hit.
Feel like Eldov just sort of died a lot.
Because
It was nobody's fault. It just happened.
Exactly. That's why I'm calling it dying. That's 31 damage instead of someone killing you.
31, and that one also flickers its lasts.
Bonus action, stab this one with. Let's go with the rib bone stiletto.
Okay.
Eminently killable.
That'll hit an armor class of 11.
11 does not do it.
That's the end of Red's turn.
They also enjoy a
This is-
+2 armor class bonus.
Suss out that AC.
It's going to bring us to Adrex. Let's get a death save. I'm going to zoom way in on it.
Yep.
All right.
It's a pass.
That's a pass. It's going to bring us to Windy.
All right. I'm going to go in on some
Wormy with worm
longsword
face.
swings.
Okay.
Let's make these at disadvantage so I can do more punches.
Okay.
Got him.
You hear your NPCs fall over in the next room.
Yeah, they're all dead. That's a 15 to hit.
15 will not hit.
All right. Tracking down that number.
It's 16.
Wait, you know what? No, 15 will hit because you're not relying on sight. You're not disadvantaged by the dim light.
Oh, well then.
Yeah,
That's a net 20 on the table right there from that second roll that you just
No,
took.
I'm disadvantaged by no sight. I'm just not disadvantaged with a
Mhm.
-2.
Yeah, he
Oh,
does.
there's-
Yeah, he doesn't get the
there's
plus 2
many
AC
levels of
bonus against.
That's 7 magical slashing,
Okay,
and then a 25 to hit.
we'll hit.
That's another 11 magical slashing.
And that one flickers away. And as soon as this last tendril flickers, the darkness in the room and the silence evaporates away. And now, not only can you see the features in the room and the glow of the torch at Wendy's feet, but you can also hear just the standard acoustics of the place kind of come to life. You can hear the echo of the gurgling of water elsewhere in the dungeon. And it doesn't feel so oppressively still anymore.
Adrex, take 15 hit points.
Oh gosh, this place sucks.
Many
Never
places
doing
do, Adrex.
All right, we are going to take 2 breaks today. We're going to take our first one right now. So let's take about 10 minutes so I can go something dogs.